Daryl, we've had a lot of requests for a map of this nature. Epidemiologists often use spot maps to look at whether or not there's clustering of disease. In this case, we're not seeing a lot of clustering. In fact, there's widespread illness reported from census tracts across most of the main Hawaiian Islands. There are some spots on the map that you'll see where we've had more than 10 cases in a single census tract. Many of those cases were associated with earlier reporting when most of our cases were travel related. And I can only speculate that, that the reason for that clustering is that people in those census tracts probably traveled more than others. There are generally higher socioeconomic areas where you would expect people to be traveling frequently. There's no reason to believe that there's any additional risk factors in those areas. Over time, we're going to see some changes, of course, and we'd expect that to occur. But this is our first attempt to geographically identify those individuals. Let me stress, so that there's no confusion, that there's no additional risk if you are in those census tracts. It's very likely, and in fact probable, that the person who's living in those areas was exposed somewhere else. We don't think in your home is a very likely source of exposure for most individuals. So it's probably at work or in other public places where the exposure actually occurred and where the disease is possibly being transmitted. I hope that helps.
Dr. Anderson, we have another question. This is from Ashley Mizuo of HPR. It may overlap what you just said, but her question is, are the 8 community transmitted cases all clustered in the same zip code area? If not, how are the community cases distributed throughout the state? This is community transmitted cases.
They are not all in the same census tract or even clustering in a single census tract. We're finding there are only a handful of cases which we are thinking are not or clearly community associated, but there's no clustering so far as we know in those cases. We are going to be looking for possible common sources of exposure, but this map is not really intended for that purpose. It's really just to give us a sense of how widely spread the disease is. One thing it is noteworthy is that there are no cases on Lanai or Molokai at this time.